In recent years, herringbone pattern has become very popular again. In this video, I'm going to show you the most common mistakes people make while installing it so that you can avoid them. Let's talk herringbone pattern. While it is a beautiful pattern, it requires a basic knowledge of geometry. There's a lot of 45, 90 degree angles that you need to understand before you can start. The first and most common mistake is finding center. The center can be found between the two short side ends right in the middle. When you find that spot, you take your measurement and that is your center. The reason why center is so important is so that your pattern is balanced. Anytime you start a backsplash in the middle, usually right above the stove, you want to end up with equal cuts on the sides. So even if you've done a beautiful installation, if you didn't start center and your pattern is not balanced, that may throw off the whole look of your backsplash or floor. In this next example, I'm going to show you how they did what it looks like 3x12 tiles, but they didn't center it, so you can tell how the cuts on both sides are different. On the left, you have no small cut. On the right, you have a tiny cut. This could have very well happened because they didn't center it the way I explained it. The next common mistake is not knowing your tiles are divisible or non-divisible, which also translates into dimensional or not dimensional. It only means that an X amount of short sides equal the length of a long side. Tiles can still be laid on a herringbone pattern even if they're not dimensional, but the pattern will walk a little bit, as you see in this picture. The long ends will not match, but you can still achieve a pretty good look on your backsplash. You just have to know this beforehand so that you're not scared when you see the cuts being larger on one side than the other. In this next example, they did not follow the 45 degree angle at the bottom, so they went off crooked. They continued the whole installation, and the pattern, while it's well installed with each other, it's not installed correctly. You can see how it goes a little bit sideways, kind of like it's going up on the right hand side. Now when you're installing this on a countertop, it's good to have a speed square like this and make sure everything is in accordance to the right angle, 45 degree angle from the countertop. That could have helped these people save a lot of money and effort on this backsplash. Later, somebody came and demoed this, did the right install, and the final product looks like this. You can tell how it's straight, how it has the right angles at the bottom, and by what I can see, this is a divisible tile because you can see all the cuts on the bottom are about the same. Usually, if you've never done herringbone before or you're a beginner, you may want to stick to just tile on a single wall and not attempt to do any wrapping like you can see on this video. They tried to wrap it and they failed. The corners do not match and that looks bad. So in order to do that the right way, they should have taken into account the thickness of the tile and cut the tile on the right 3/8 or ½ inch shorter, so that way the leftover piece would have wrapped the right way. This is almost personal, but I like it to wrap the right way, and if it's not going to wrap, just stick to doing it on a flat wall and do maybe a different pattern on the adjacent wall. And last but not least, if you found your center and you're doing an inlay like the one on the picture, but your cuts on the sides are too small, you can take the center of the long side of the boards. This will give you equal cuts on both sides. The only difference is that one cut is going to be going up and the other one's going to be going down. Some people may like this better than have tiny cuts on the sides, and some people will argue that they would rather have the little cuts because this doesn't look centered. So this is personal preference. If you like it, for me this looks better than having tiny cuts, but it's just an optional center line if your cuts are too tiny. Remember, if you like this video, you feel like it's helpful, subscribe and hit the notification bell for future videos. See you in the next one.